All right, YouTube, this is Woodgie here, or WJYE, and this is attempt number 2 at this video before another dang train comes by here and you can't hear me talk. So I'm going to use my lunch break today while I'm at work to talk about this car. So over the past few years, the Crown Vic has been quite popular on YouTube and social media, and a lot of people will tell you that, you know, if you want to buy a used cop car or just any used car, the Crown Vic is one of the best bangs for the buck that you can get. So they're cheap, you got decent performance, they're easy to fix, yada yada. I'm here to tell you a little bit differently today. I want to talk to you about why you don't want a Crown Victoria and why the Crown Vic may not be the car for you. I'm going to use my 2007 P71 here as an example. I bought this car in December of 2019, and I really haven't posted anything of it on my channel, so this will be the first video of it. What you guys should know, and one of the things I'm going to talk about, is I have done a lot of work to this car since I purchased it. So the problems that this car has may not be indicative of the car that you're looking at. So the first and foremost is that if you're looking to buy a P71, a lot of people will tell you that this is the car to buy because this has the best parts on it, heavy-duty suspension, cooling, and just all-around better parts, a little bit better performance than the Lexus. But what people don't tell you is that the P71s are going to see a lot more abuse than other cars will. People also like to talk to you and they'll tell you that that's not a big deal because it's fleet maintained. Well, fleet maintained is one of the things I want to talk about today. So first and foremost, one of the biggest issues with the Crown Vic is that the newest Crown Vic that you can get is a 2011. At the time of filming, it is October of 2021. So the newest Crown Vic that you can get is a decade-old car. And a decade-old car that has seen police use and abuse is going to have problems. I apologize, the wind's blowing and it's causing my camera to shake here. So the biggest thing with these cars, they are easy to fix if you have the tools and knowledge to do it yourself. If you're a person who cannot afford to fix cars on your own and you have to take it to a shop, I would not recommend you to own a Crown Vic, especially a P71. Specifically because the P71, well, it is a good car and I love these cars, things are going to break. Common failure points on these cars are the intake manifolds. Transmissions like to go. Earlier models have issues with spark plug ejection. And generally, police wear and tear causes problems on a lot of different things. This specific car spent about 6,000 hours just idling there. So as a result, it has had some significant work done in the engine bay. Right off the bat, that's a new alternator on there. New idler pulley. There's a new water pump behind that. AC compressor, pulley there. Idler pulley there. Tensioner arm, pretty much the entire belt drive with the exception of the crank pulley and the power steering has been replaced. The computer has been changed on this car just simply because I wanted cruise control. It's got a new battery. I had to do a bunch of wiring work to it because when I bought it, it had some police equipment that needed to be removed. Power steering fluid has been flushed and changed. The coolant has been flushed and changed. Brake fluid has been changed. As you can see, it's got coil packs on it. It's had spark plugs and coil packs changed on it. Before I bought it, valve cover gaskets were changed on it. Some of this work I just did because I wanted to do, and other of this work it needed. For example, the air conditioner. When I first bought it, the AC compressor completely seized up and would burn the belts up. I burned through 2 belts before I realized what was going on. I replaced that and rebuilt the AC system. Blows nice and cold. But if you don't have the ability or the skill to fix that, the job that I paid $300 and a Saturday afternoon to do myself could cost you about $600 or $700. So my point is that if you are not able to or you don't want to learn to fix it, the repair bills on these can stack up quickly. A recent job that I just did was I rebuilt the rear emergency brakes. And in order to do that, I might not have had to. I pulled out the rear axle shafts and replace the wheel bearings and the wheel seals. A shop might charge you $1,000 to do that because I had the pumpkin open. And that wouldn't even include the price of redoing the e-brake shoes. This is a 10-year-old car. Things are going to break. If you can't fix it yourself and you have to have a shop do it, expect to pay shop prices. And it's impossible to say what one job will cost because every place and every job and every car is different. That is probably the biggest reason why I might want to steer you clear of these. People buy them, think they're going to be indestructible, and that's just not the case. The other thing that you have to think about is the whole, it's fleet maintained. Well, what does fleet maintained mean? Fleet maintained might not really mean anything. There's a lot of cars in my area that were fleet maintained, and what fleet maintained means is that the oil was changed maybe once every 10,000 miles. The car was idled hours and hours on end, didn't get the service that it needed because the fleet mechanics are too busy working on other cars. Fleet maintained could also be that it had the oil changed every 3,000 miles. Fleet maintained doesn't mean anything unless you know where the car came from. Honestly, the best way I could recommend you to buy a Crown Vic if you wanted one was to maybe consider a civilian model or a Grand Marquis that maybe you can account for a Carfax or something like that. It's just hard to recommend a P71. So the biggest reason I wouldn't recommend these is maintenance. And second of all, another reason that I couldn't recommend this is people will try to tell you online that these cars are super fast. And if you buy one of these and you expect it to be like super fast and you expect to be red light running people down and blowing the doors off people, well, you might be sadly mistaken and find that that's not the case. These cars are quick-ish, but they are not fast cars by any means. And here we got another train. Thank God this one was an Amtrak. So my point is that if you're buying this because you think that they're going to be super fast and you're going to have a race car, that's often not the case. This car does 0 to 60 in about 8.5 seconds, makes 250 horsepower and 300 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a 4-speed automatic transmission on there. You're not going to blow the doors off many people. Not without work. And if you think that you're going to mod one of these things to make it fast, well, 4.6 liter does respond well to mods. Boosting and supercharging works really well for these cars. But if you can't fabricate stuff and you have to pay a shop to custom build that, that's more money. I mean, you could always LS swap it too, but that's also going to require fabrication skills. My point is that these cars are like your high school crush. You know, you see this girl every day and you think that she's beautiful and you have all these high expectations for her in your head. And then when you start to get to know her, you realize that, you know, she's good, but she's not what you thought she was, you know? Don't set unreasonable expectations for yourself. These are good cars. They are easy to work on. They are cheap to fix. Parts are cheap if you know what you're doing. So the biggest thing that I can tell you about this is, and I apologize, this is kind of a rambling video here, know what you're getting into. Do some homework. Learn about the cars. Learn what's going to break. Do some detective work on your car. That is the best advice that I can possibly give you when it comes to these. Don't buy it if you don't want to do the homework. Don't buy it if you think it's going to be a perfect car and you never want to fix it. Don't buy it, plain and simple. Don't buy it if you are looking for a car that you think is going to be fast out of the box and you don't want to have to do any work. Don't buy it. I definitely will want to make more content on this car in the future on my channel. I do certainly love this. So hopefully you'll be seeing more Crown Vic videos from my channel in the future. But this is just, we'll call it part one. I'm sure I'll think of something else I want to talk about. Part one of reasons why the Crown Vic may not be the car for you. Stay tuned, and if you guys like this one, maybe I'll do more in the future. Peace out and stay safe, everybody.